Yo, bonsoir, bonsoir, bonsoir. Salut Nissim. Ça va être un live ASMR sur un jeu gaming. Oui, c'est ça. Un live soft spoken. Parce que c'est quand même assez plus agréable. C'est un jeu narratif, donc de toute façon, il y aura des voix quoi. Donc on va jouer à What Remains of Edith Finch, que j'ai trouvé il y a pas longtemps. Un jeu sorti en 2017. Salut Alan. Et ouais. Je pense que c'est un bon jeu. J'ai lu pas mal de trucs sur internet et ça a l'air de plaire beaucoup. Un très bon jeu. Donc on va le découvrir. Si vous aimez le fantastique dans le sens voilà, des phénomènes un peu paranormaux, ce genre de trucs qui se passent dans un cadre réaliste, je pense que vous serez servi. Et vu que moi j'adore ça, je pense aussi. Ok, on va partir tout doucement dessus. Hein. Je vais lancer et simplement installez-vous confortablement. C'est un jeu narratif. Hein. Donc on écoute l'histoire, on se laisse porter et voilà, on apprécie. Je vais essayer de retrouver ça. En tout cas, j'espère que votre mardi s'est bien passé. Moi, j'ai eu mes premières heures de conduite aujourd'hui. C'était intéressant. J'ai conduit une voiture. J'avais déjà conduit il y a quelques années. Mais bon, j'ai un peu oublié. Et là, avec l'auto-école, c'était très agréable. Alors, jeu. Trouver le jeu. Ok, attention. Il devrait être là. Est-ce qu'il s'affiche? Oui, il s'affiche. Est-ce que tu pourras faire une nouvelle vidéo ASMR coiffeur ou barbier? Bien sûr, bien sûr. Je ne sais pas exactement quand, mais ouais, j'y pensais, j'avais envie d'en refaire une. Tu sais quoi? Je vais le noter parce que sinon je sais que je vais oublier dans 3 minutes. Donc, alors. Par contre, je crois que le jeu commence direct. Hein, y a pas de. Je l'ai lancé pour tester. Et là, on est déjà dans le jeu. Ouais. Ok. Alors, barbier, coiffeur. Merci. De rien, de rien. C'est avec plaisir. À FIFA 22. Comment ça, à FIFA 22? Allez. Donc, j'espère que le soleil va pas me détruire la face droite, là, parce que... Ah, c'est pas le meilleur moment pour lancer le live. J'aurais dû attendre le coucher du soleil. Mais NP. Tout va bien. Allez, c'est parti. Je vais essayer de pas trop parler pour rien dire. Parce que, voilà. Un jeu narratif, quoi. Je vais simplement commencer par le début avec la maison. Ok. Déjà, on est en QWERTY. Ok. Alors, il faut savoir que j'essaie de pas trop me spoiler hein, sur le jeu, donc j'ai aucune idée, je pourrais pas trop vous faire
Someone
l'histoire.
had put up a chain link fence, but it looked like I wasn't the first person to hop it.
Et oui. Y a rien
My
qui...
brother Milton disappeared when I was 4. It was like the house just swallowed him up.
Ok. Bon, ça semble être un de ces jeux où il faut pas hésiter à fouiller un petit peu tous les petits coins pour avoir des infos.
I lived here until I was 11, but I wasn't allowed inside half the rooms.
Ah ouais. Mhm. C'est quoi ça? Boîte aux lettres. Warriors Island Gazette. Mhm.
Inside the mailbox were bills from 7 years ago, marked urgent, open immediately.
Ok, je peux les prendre? Non. Bon.
I hadn't been back since my brother Lewis's funeral.
J'adore les sous-titres qui apparaissent comme ça sur le décor. Notre espacing. Je vais trespacer.
In her will, my mother left me a key, but didn't tell me what it unlocked.
Ce testament, mon père m'avait légué une clé.
Maybe she thought I'd know. Or she thought that the mystery would be enough to bring me back.
Tiens. C'est bon, c'est un tout petit chemin par là. On peut aller par là. Je vais voir ce qu'il y a. C'est pas la bonne route.
The truth is, even after I inherited the house, I never thought I'd come back to it. But now I had questions about my family that only the house knew the answers to.
Ok.
The woods around the house have always been uncomfortably silent. As if they're about to say something but never do.
Très joli. Ambiance de fou. J'espère que vous voyez assez clair parce que je sens que ça commence à devenir un peu sombre là. Mais je crois que... Ouais voilà, j'ai l'augmenté, mais bon... Augmente un petit peu la luminosité. Parce que je sais que YouTube a... Voilà quoi. N'hésitez pas aussi à me dire hein, si le son... trop fort, pas assez fort.
The house was exactly like I remembered it, the way I'd been dreaming about it.
Qu'est-ce que c'est que ce truc? On va regarder un petit peu par là. Un vieux camion. Je crois qu'il n'y a rien. Yeah.
As a child, the house made me uncomfortable in a way I couldn't put into words. Now, as a 17-year-old, I knew exactly what those words were. I was afraid of the house.
La maison me faisait peur. Alors oui, vous en faites pas, hein, c'est pas un jeu d'horreur. Je crois. Non, je pense que c'est pas un jeu d'horreur, c'est juste un petit peu sombre, mais c'est tranquille quoi. Ok, là, je peux mettre la clé.
I hoped the key might unlock the front door. It didn't.
D'accord.
Looking in, I felt like the house itself had been waiting for me.
c'est pas comme dans les films. Genre il cache la clé sous un pot, quoi. On était en train d'essayer de rentrer. Ouais. Euh... ah, ah ouais, par la niche du chien, ça dégoûte.
Crawling through the doggy door used to be a lot easier when I was 11.
Gringo.
The power had been turned off the night we left.
Ok.
For the first time in years,
2010.
I felt like I was home.
Beaucoup de livres hein, qui traînent.
But instead of a family, there were just memories of one.
Je suppose que la petite fille là, c'est nous. Edith, ouais. Edith la grand-mère, Lewis. Sûrement notre frère. Ou notre maman. Lewis Finch. Beloved brother. Et oui. Il a disparu ou il est mort du coup? Je sais pas suivi. Ouais, c'est ça. Ok. Voilà, la vaisselle est faite, mais vite fait quoi.
Like how only one restaurant would deliver to our house, so we had Chinese a lot.
Pourquoi pas?
Or how after Lewis started working at the cannery, we all got sick of eating salmon. Except our cat, Molly. Nothing in the house looked abnormal. There was just too much of it, like a smile with too many teeth.
Oh là là, cette bibliothèque.
A lot of things got left behind in the whirlwind of that last night.
Le dernier colis Amazon. 2 derniers colis.
My mom wasn't much of an optimist, but she never stopped believing that my brother Milton was alive.
Et oui, disparu. Sad. Petit salon. Ils adoraient lire. Hein. Ça.
Even the fireplace had a story. Edie told me the bricks came from the original house, after it sank.
Ok. Belle transition. Halloween.
The table was still a wreck from the night we left.
Okay.
It was like a bomb had gone off, killing everyone but sparing the furniture.
Parti dans la précipitation. Et je pense pas qu'on sache pourquoi pour le moment. Ah.
My mom was the only one of us who could imagine Great-Grandma Edie living in a nursing home.
On vient de là. Ok, bah je crois qu'il faut monter maintenant. Ah non, il y a encore une porte là. Mais elle a l'air condamnée. Et on peut rien faire. Ah, ok, on peut regarder.
Edie told me once that every Finch who ever lived is buried somewhere in the library.
D'accord. C'est pas très rassurant. Ok. Wow.
After Milton disappeared, Mom sealed up all the bedrooms. Then Edie retaliated and drilled peepholes. I spent a lot of time playing in Great Uncle Walter's room. I think my mom sometimes regretted not sealing it up.
Ok. C'est joli, hein. Belle déco. Très très belle déco.
Lewis told me there were secret passages, but I never believed him.
Oh, c'était pour ça. 20,000 leaks under the sea.
Turns out, my mom was really good at keeping secrets.
Oh là là.
Now it was time to find out what my mom had been afraid of.
Ok, ok. Mais je vais d'abord finir mon petit tour de l'étage. Molly.
Molly always seemed like a girl I could imagine being friends with, if she hadn't died in 1947.
Mhm. Ok. Mon ami le Bigfoot. Barbara Finch.
Whenever people ask me about my family, the first thing they always want to know about is Barbara.
Mhm. Elle était connue, actrice.
Edie's father Odin built the original house.
Ok. Bah Barbara.
Barbara was a child star for 2 years, until America grew out of it.
Une chambre à son image.
Mom must have locked the 3rd floor stairs on the night we left.
Ok. Yes. Eddie et Sven.
The last time I was in Edith Sr.'s room, I was 10 and she was painting my portrait.
Hmm. Ah non, Grégory.
As a kid, I just assumed every house had peepholes and sealed rooms you weren't allowed inside of.
Calvin, 11 ans.
My Grandpa Sam spent 7 years sharing a room with his dead brother, Calvin.
Ah ouais. Sûr. Ok, je crois qu'on a tout regardé. On va prendre le passage secret. c'est beau.
Reading this, maybe it sounds like I had a plan. From the paintings on the wall, it was clear my brother Milton had been here before me.
Petit tag.
But I had no idea what was behind that door.
Wow.
Just like I had no idea where all this was gonna lead.
Chambre de Molly.
I grew up looking at Molly's room through the peephole. Molly's gerbil had a tiny bedroom with its own even tinier gerbil cage. Being inside for the first time, I felt like I'd stepped behind a painting.
Ouais. Allons vers la lumière. Une étoile de mer découpée. Microscope et tout, on se met bien. Molly Finch.
December 13th, 1947. Dear Diary, I'll be gone soon, but I wanted to tell somebody about what's gonna happen. It started when Mom sent me to bed without dinner.
Oh.
I woke up and I was starving, so I looked around for something to eat.
Ok, là on est Molly, on a faim. On veut manger. Est-ce qu'on peut manger ça?
The gerbil food was dry, but I didn't mind it.
On va manger le poisson. Non, je rigole. On est tout petit. Oh, elle a mangé le dentifrice.
I kept eating and eating.
Faites pas ça. Fluor, c'est pas bon. Elle a pas bu l'eau des toilettes au moins.
I ate a lot of things that night.
C'est pour ça qu'elle est décédée.
Then I heard chirping outside my window. It was a barn swallow going back to her nest. I reached out for her.
Aïe aïe aïe. C'est pas une bonne idée non plus de faire ça.
And suddenly, I was a
Quoi?
cat.
Quoi? Ok.
I tried to be quiet, but the bird was really scared.
Et donc maintenant on a un chat. Miaou.
I jumped and I almost got her. I could tell she was getting really tired. Now I was up in the big tree. I promised Dad I wouldn't climb it anymore. All I cared about was eating that mama bird. I gobbled her up,
Oh no.
and suddenly, I was an owl. First, all I heard was the wind. Then I heard little teeth nibbling in the grass.
Encore un jeu ultra relaxant.
Rabbits.
Je dois choper un lapin là. Voilà. Je l'ai eu. Oh,
I imagined his face looking up and seeing mine through my talons.
non, non,
I
non, non, non,
swallowed
non.
him up, and I didn't chew one bit. Then I flew off to find something bigger.
C'est fou.
A mama rabbit.
On lance la pine.
She was almost too big to carry. I started choking, but I couldn't stop eating. And suddenly, I was a shark.
Ah. Alors. C'est pas le meilleur endroit pour être un requin. Mais du coup, je suis. C'est clair. À l'aide. Qu'est-ce que c'est que ce jeu? Ok, ok.
I rolled off a cliff and into the ocean. Now, I was hungrier than ever.
Très bien. Il y a un truc là. Il y a un poisson.
I wanted fat, juicy seeds.
Non, non.
I tore off her flipper, and it tasted really good. I grabbed on tight. And when I was so hungry, I jumped out of the water. When I opened my eyes, everything had changed.
Oui. Je suis quoi? Je suis un cobra. Oh, c'est trop stylé. Serpent.
Now I was a monster, and I smelled people everywhere.
Un monstre? C'est pas du tout un serpent. On se court un peu.
I was big, but I moved real quiet.
T'es gros, mais je me déplace en silence. D'accord. Bah.
I wanted to stop, but also I didn't.
Que ferons-nous là? What will we do with the drunken sailors? What will we do with the drunken sailors? What will we do? More Donc enfin.
Across the water, we smelt something new. Something I had to have, so I swam towards it.
D'accord. Flippante un peu à la petite fille. Hein.
I slithered onto the sand, and the good smell went into an old pipe.
Bonne odeur provenait d'un conduit. J'espère qu'on va pas aller manger des rats. Ah. On sort des toilettes. Je vous jure, hein, c'est pas un jeu d'horreur. C'est une petite fille, hein, c'est pas un jeu d'horreur. Mais on est dans ma chambre. Est-ce que je suis venu me manger?
All of my stomach started growling.
Ok.
And suddenly, I was me again. I held my breath for a long time, but I couldn't hear anything. I think it's waiting for me to fall asleep. But it's not going to wait much longer. It needs to feed, and we both know I will be delicious.
Ok. Oh, c'était trop bien.
I'm not sure if I believed all of that, but I'm sure Edie would have.
D'accord. Au next. Le fameux chat. C'est pas le moment de mourir.
This will be obvious later, but my mom never told me any of these stories. Edie would have, but Mom didn't like bringing up the past. Though, when we adopted a stray kitten, she was the one who named it Molly. I spent a lot of time in Great-Grandma Edie's room. We got along, and it was a good place to hide from my mom.
Oui. La femme de 72 ans refuse d'évacuer parce que... Ah ok. Elle refuse d'évacuer parce que ce n'est qu'un petit feu de forêt.
One summer, they evacuated the island, but Edie refused to go. For a few weeks, she was a celebrity.
Elle l'a fait encadrer quoi.
I hadn't thought of myself as Edith Jr. for a long, long time. Edie gave a big interview about a mole man living under the Finch house. My mom was furious. Her room was like a museum.
C'est vrai.
For 500 years, the Finches have been famous throughout Norway for their fortune and misfortune. Odin Finch buries the latest victims of the family curse, his wife Ingeborg and their newborn son, Johan. On January 7th, 1937, he set sail with his family and his house, hoping to leave the curse behind. But 40-foot waves off the coast of Washington send the house and Odin to the bottom of the sea. Odin's daughter Edie, with husband Sven and baby Molly, step ashore on their new home, Orcas Island. Odin Finch is the first to be buried in the new family cemetery. His daughter Edie is already dreaming of a new Finch house. Whatever's wrong with this family, it goes back a long ways.
D'accord. Joining the great majority. Ah non, c'est important.
When Edie told people Sven was killed by a dragon, she could also have said he was building a dragon-shaped slide that collapsed. She could have, but she didn't. Even in her 90s, sometimes Edie seemed a lot younger than my mother.
Ouf. N'abusons pas. What the fuck?
The only trace Grandpa Sam's first wife Kay left on the house was the pink bathroom. It was a pretty big trace.
Si on mit quoi par terre, c'est doux. Yes. Ah. Je peux aussi ouvrir ça ou pas? Secret in this bathroom.
There's a secret in this bathroom. It's in the last place you would look.
D'accord.
It isn't in the cupboard. It's hidden in this book.
Oh là là. Bravo.
Sven gave Sam an old camera he'd refurbished. He never put it down.
C'est un petit studio pour développer les photos. Cool. Et là on est dans la chambre qui est partagée entre les deux frères, Sam et Calvin.
I knew Grandpa Sam had a twin. And that he never talked about him.
To the command center. Oh là là, les photos et tout. C'est pour sauter sur le lit. T'es bon à l'école, high school et tout. Sam, fan de tout ce qui est militaire, Calvin, plutôt astronaute. Dans l'âme. Ça fumait. Ok, ok. C'est trop stylé ça. Non, non, n'y va pas. Attends, attends. J'ai envie d'aller voir en haut.
I guess my grandpa didn't like history any more than my mom did.
Ah ouais. Non mais quelle chambre de fou, en vrai.
How I Want to Remember My Brother by Sam Finch. The thing I remember is that when he made up his mind, that was it. My brother said he'd die before he ate another mushroom. And he did. At Barbara's funeral, we swore we'd never be afraid again. And he wasn't. I think Calvin always wanted to fly.
Ah, on va voler.
Sam, Calvin, dinner's ready. Coming.
But that day, he finally made up his mind to do it.
Let's go.
I told him going around was impossible. Maybe if I hadn't said that.
Calvin, I'm not gonna tell you again.
Maybe if the wind hadn't picked up. Then maybe he'd still be here. But I doubt it.
Allez,
I think he'd already made up his mind.
je vais mourir là. Pitié.
That's what I want to remember about my brother.
Ah ouais.
The day he made up his mind to fly. And he did.
Ok.
Calvin's story felt strangely familiar. When I was younger, I remember trying to do the exact same thing.
Ok, ne décollez pas dans les falaises. C'est quoi ça? Bravo,
After
bravo.
the funeral, Edie roped off Calvin's half of the room.
Mhm.
Mom said Grandpa Sam enlisted at 18 and never set foot in the room again.
Ok. Allons dans le passage secret.
The passages were a pretty tight fit. They'd obviously been built for smaller hands and bellies.
Ah, chambre de Barbara, je crois.
Growing up, I always thought of Barbara as a child star.
L'enfant star. Quoi? Non, 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 non. Qu'est-ce que tu fais? Arrête.
I never thought about how hard it must have been for her afterwards.
Mhm. Dreadful story.
Of all the stories people wrote about Barbara's death, I'm surprised Edie saved this one.
Ok. C'est parti.
Old Jack here with another ghastly tale inspired by America's most unfortunate family. I'm calling it The Surprise Ending of Barbara Finch. As a child star, Barbara was famous for her scream. Now at 16, she was all washed up. A has-been.
T'es rincé, en fait.
Lucky break, she'd been asked to perform her signature scream at a local convention for monster movie fans. It was just the boost her career needed. Unfortunately, her her scream hadn't aged well.
Getting better. I think you just need the right motivation.
Her biggest fan and current
Je gêne
boyfriend,
un peu là.
Rick, was about to demonstrate when...
Now that was a great scream.
It was Barbara's father, Sven. He'd slipped into a table saw and had to be rushed to the emergency room. So Barbara got stuck babysitting her youngest brother, Walter. Her convention comeback was cancelled.
Okay, I'm hearing frustration, but I'm not hearing terror. What if I tried...
A gang of hoodlums in Halloween masks have been terrorizing Orcas Island tonight. Police are urging residents to...
That came from the basement.
You're right! Also, I loved your delivery on that. Why is your basement door locked?
Because my dad likes making puzzles and secret passages. There's a key hidden in the music box. The secret is to keep winding and winding until finally the key pops out.
Thanks, babe. I'll be back in a sec.
20 minutes later, Rick hadn't returned. So Barbara went to look for him, right on cue. She reached for the music box.
Oh, je dois jouer dans la BD. Oh, c'est trop bien.
And
Mise en scène de fou.
found the key. She listened for Rick, but the house was silent.
Oh, c'est trop bien. C'est moi qui descends là.
She found Rick's crutch and imagined the worst.
Ah, pouvoir se battre.
The gang's leader is the infamous Hookman killer, Dr. Carl Hamill, who impaled and then ate his family 10 years ago tonight.
Tiens, tiens.
The old fridge rattled and grew still.
Oh dear!
Oh!
Rick?
Barb, relax. I was just trying to scare you to help you find your scream.
Well, I'm not scared, Rick. I'm furious.
Then act furious. All I'm getting from you now is that you're hurt and confused and
She threw him out,
J'ai.
but she kept a little something to remember him by.
Barb, have you seen my other crutch?
And she was still holding it when she fell asleep watching the late picture show. Hours later...
Barbara! Walter, what's going on up there? Ah! Okay, I'm coming up, but if this is a trick, you're dead, Walter.
D'accord. C'est parti. On va tuer des zombies. Peur. C'est trop bien fait.
Walter, are you there? Walter had vanished, but his bedside radio was still on.
Orcas Island police describe the man as 6 feet tall, with a steel hook for a hand. Residents are urged to lock all doors and windows and notify the police of any suspicious activity.
Ah,
Barbara turned, saw the hookman, and was speechless. He was quite smashing.
paf.
And whoever he was, he couldn't get enough of Barbara.
Barbara. There's gotta be another way out of here.
That night, she played her part beautifully. Molly's door hadn't been opened in years. The hinges groan. He wasn't moving, but she sensed the story might not be over yet.
D'accord. Je dois descendre l'achever. Je descends l'achever. Descends plus vite, plus vite, plus vite, plus vite, plus vite. Il est parti, bah ouais. Forcément si tu vas trop lentement.
Bookman had vanished. She listened for his breathing, but all she heard was...
Ah, c'est trop flippant. Enfin non, ça va, tranquille, détendez-vous, c'est juste Halloween. Ouais, ouais, j'arrive.
Dying to speak to young Barbara.
Y'a personne.
At the door, she heard whispering. It was coming from inside the house.
Oh non.
Oh dear.
Oh non.
The monsters had come to surprise her. For Barbara,
D'accord.
it was a dream come true. Then she saw what kind of monsters they were, and she realized what was about to happen. She was going to be famous. And with her final breath, Barbara Finch gave the performance of her life. I was not myself, but I hear Barbara was magnificent. Poor girl. She had a taste for stardom. But unfortunately, so did her fans. Of course, the police blamed it all on poor Rick, who disappeared the same night. And little Walter? Hiding under his bed the whole time. He took it all pretty hard, but that's another story. As for Barbara, tucked inside the music box is all they ever found of her. Her ear. Now that's what I call a real eerie tale.
Très bien, très bien. Calmez-vous. C'est incroyable la mise en scène.
Edie told me
Barbara.
all Barbara wanted was to be remembered, as absurd as that comic was. Maybe what Edie saw was a happy ending.
Waouh. Joyeux anniversaire. Ok. Du coup, je suppose qu'il faut sortir.
I guess now I know why Mom didn't like me playing with the music box.
Mhm. Mais elle est où cette music box déjà? suppose qu'il me faut la clé pour avancer. J'ai déjà oublié. C'était pour ouvrir le garage ou je sais pas quoi. Elle est là. Ok. Bien. Donc c'est le sous-sol là. Mhm. On peut toujours pas faire une petite partie de billard peut-être. Sven.
Mom said the basement was off limits, unless I wanted another tetanus shot. I saw Edie sneak down to the basement once, carrying packages.
D'accord.
I thought maybe she was hiding presents.
Ah, c'est le fameux frigo.
It turned out she was hiding a lot more than that.
Ah oui, un petit passage secret. Tranquille quoi. Là on voit plus rien. Ok.
I remember asking Mom once about where Walter had gone. She said after Barbara died, he got as far away as he could. If there's a pattern in all these stories, I think it's that none of us has gotten very far.
Walter. C'est beau. Allez, on va écouter l'histoire de Walter, je pense.
Goodbye, everyone.
Pardon.
I can't believe I've been down here for 30 years. On that first day, after the shaking started, I didn't think I'd survive a week. But after a few days, I settled into a routine. That's what kept me sane. Having a schedule, living for today. I always expected to be dead tomorrow. But if you wait long enough, you'll be used
Ça
to
fait
it.
8 ans qu'il est là. Hein. Je vois sur le calendrier, on était en 68 avant. 68.
Even a monster on the other side of the door starts to feel normal. Almost friendly.
Mange que des pêches.
And then one day, everything just
2005. Ah ouais.
stopped.
Bizarre un peu l'ambiance.
Whatever that thing was, it was gone. Maybe it got tired of waiting. Or maybe I just got tired of being afraid. It's been a week now, the longest in 30 years.
30 ans ici.
I'm done waiting. I have to leave. Well, I still can.
Ok. Déjà, s'il est jamais parti d'ici, ça veut dire que il a réussi à caler 30 ans de nourriture ici. Bon, c'est juste des pêches quoi, mais belle perf. Et les tremblements de terre, c'était bizarre. Bizarre ça.
I know it's out there, somewhere.
Ah bon?
Whatever killed Barbara
Les monstres?
and Molly.
Ah ouais? Molly?
And Calvin.
Tout le monde quoi.
Maybe this is all a mistake. But I need to stop living the same day, even if it kills me. Whatever's out there, I want you to know I'm ready for it. I'm going to appreciate all of it, especially the food.
Après 30 ans de pêche.
Fine if I only have a year left. Or a month. Or a single week. I'd be happy with one new day. I can already imagine the sun on my face.
Aïe, il s'est pris un train.
Walter died when I was 6. I can't believe my mom never told me he was down here.
Ouais, bon. En même temps, t'as un peu une famille un peu chelou, hein. Ah bah voilà. Oh la bouffe. Lui, il était prêt, hein. Il était prêt pour le Covid. Waouh. Et en fait, je viens de là. J'avais même pas regardé. Maintenant, on a la ref. Ok.
I'm sure my mom was trying to protect me.
Moi, ma théorie, pour le moment, si ça vous intéresse, c'est que...
Maybe she was afraid I'd end up like Walter.
ouais, c'est qu'ils étaient genre tous malades, mais genre mentalement. Ils voyaient des trucs,
But
ils
if
avaient
she
des
never told
hallucinations.
me about an uncle under the house,
Ils avaient des hallucinations et tout, et bah... forcément, ça a fini par les tuer.
I can only imagine what else she was hiding. I don't want to make the same mistakes she made.
Mais bon, ouais, je vois qu'il y a de la bouffe jusque-là. Le mec était prêt pour tous les Covid à venir, quoi. Ouais.
Trying to bury something that's still alive.
Espérons qu'on se prenne pas un train aussi.
Now that there's only one of us left, or maybe two, I thought it was time I heard the stories for myself and found out what happened to everyone else. But now I'm worried the stories themselves might be the problem. Maybe we believed so much in a family curse, we made it real.
Mhm. Ah. Je suppose que... avant, la voix continuait, hein.
I don't know if I should even be writing this.
What?
Maybe it'd be better if all this just died with me.
Il y a donc de l'électricité. Panneau solaire. Ok, ok. Joué.
But I thought you should know about your family. And the history you're a part of.
Ouais. Donc on écrit tout ça pour quelqu'un?
To be honest, I feel as lost as you probably do right now.
Oui. Un petit peu.
I think the people in these stories believed them, for what that's worth. And when you look at the house, that history of imagination and stubbornness and madness, any of it seems possible.
Clairement. Poubelle.
I think we've been surrounded by death for so long, we've just gotten used to it. What kind of family finishes building a cemetery before starting the house? It's embarrassing for me to admit this, but the pet cemetery made me more uncomfortable than the human one. 3 of the gerbils were mine, and 2 had been my fault.
Ah merde. Derpy, Derpy Junior. Jerpy, Burpy, Furpy, Lurpy, Sorpy. Zoé, coucou, d'accord. Chien, chat, lapin, poisson. Dur, hein? Bailey, oula. Grenouille. Chien. Une niche de chien, ça.
Sven built the house, but it was Edie who designed the cemetery.
Molly. Ah, le chat qui est appelé Molly. 10 ans. Calvin. Attends, quoi? Non, ok, ils ont mis un chat dessus, mais c'est elle. Ok. Sven, Eddie. Ok, ok. C'est quoi ça? Hub. Nit. Nickfneck. Ouais. Des bougies. Sven le bûcheron. Pas du tout. Walter. Oh. Oh, stylé ça. Magnifique. Barbara, la star. Ok.
I'm sure Odin's monument had been Edie's idea. My mom was always trying to move on, but for Edie, the past never went away. She could see it poking out of the water at low tide.
Ouais. On va regarder ça. Alors, c'est flou.
Edie said she dreamed about the old house every night. Eddie's side was always easier for me to understand.
Le point de vue de la folie.
The more I can see where my mom was coming from. Her dad had been pretty strict, but it wasn't enough to save her brothers.
J'avais pas vu ça.
She was just trying to do better.
Grégory, Sam, Gus. Ouais. Il y a eu quelques morts, quoi.
She lost 2 of her brothers, just like I did. I get why she tried so hard to protect us.
Lewis et Sanjay.
We never found Milton's body, so my mom insisted we were putting up a monument, not a tombstone.
D'accord. Tiens. Où ça? Ouais.
There's so many things I wish I could ask my mom now. Part of me thinks this is what she wanted all along. For me to come back someday and find everything out for myself.
Ok. Montons à la petite maisonnette.
But looking back on it now, if she told me there was going to be so much climbing, I never would have come when I was 22 weeks pregnant.
Ah, je suis enceinte de 22 semaines là. Quelle bonne idée de marcher sur les toits. Ok, allons voir l'Amérique.
I never met Grandpa Sam, but I think he and my mom had a lot in common.
Propane. Barbecue. Ouais, il se mettait bien.
They were both pretty intense. Sam spent his life shooting photos, but Mom said he got nervous being in front of the camera. I guess we're all afraid of something.
On visite un petit peu la chambre et puis on regarde l'histoire de Sam. Un billet d'avion. Photo de
Instead of
militaire.
hiding from death, Sam seemed to go out of his way to meet it.
Bah ouais. C'est un soldat. Ok, alors, c'est parti. Quelle dinguerie encore on va avoir. Oh, à travers les photos. Ok.
Dawn, I promise, you'll never forget this weekend.
Yes, sir.
These memories are gonna last a lifetime.
Hmm?
Perfect.
Am I gonna have to shoot anything?
Trop bien.
It's gonna rain the whole weekend, isn't it? Please just take the damn picture.
Hey, language.
Je prends la photo de quoi là?
Did you want to get a picture of me or what?
Ah, t'es où?
I will never forget this weekend, Dad.
That's the spirit.
National Park Service.
Okay, got it.
D'accord.
I'm gonna take some pictures, okay?
Just be careful. That camera's older than you are.
You're right, Dad. It's starting to clear up. Still freezing, though.
Wow. Un petit oiseau.
Aw.
Ok. Il n'y a plus rien là. Je suppose que je suis aveugle.
Not have drunk all that coffee.
Ah, ok.
Hold still while I take a picture of you.
I definitely won't be moving.
Are you done yet?
Does it sound like I'm done? Hey!
That's a keeper.
I'm just saying, I'm not always gonna be here, Don. You'll need to remember this stuff, if you want to survive.
I'll be fine, Dad.
You know who else thought he was gonna be fine?
Some guy who died.
Don, I'm being serious.
I know, Dad. You're always serious. Doesn't being out here make you want to chill out?
Well, to tell you the truth, I haven't been out here in 20 years. Last time I was with my brother Calvin. Man, that was a great trip. Your grandpa Sven taught us how to fish, how to build a fire. We found an old logging trail. There were deer everywhere.
Dad!
Good eyes, Don. Before you take the shot, let me get a picture of it.
Cette transition.
Dad, I...
Just breathe. Turn off your imagination. Focus on your target. Let me get behind you.
Do I have to do this?
Don, you don't have to do anything. But if you want to survive, you'll need to be strong. Now keep yourself squared up, elbows down, like we practiced. Whenever you're ready. Great shot, Don!
RIP. Petit selfie avec la bête.
I'm proud of you, Don. Always remember that, okay?
Hop là. Petit 3-6.
Dad, it's twitching. I think
That's
it's...
totally normal, Don. Just focus on the camera. Try not to think about...
Dad!
Oh. Oh. Oh, l'animal s'est vengé. Oh, il lui a mis un... Oh, il lui a mis un
Bonne
VC
stories,
Sparta là.
That's the one I wish most that my mom had told me.
Ouf. À 33 ans. Pas rien. Et... dur. US Marine. sauce. Je pense que dans cette famille, ils étaient tous prêts pour le Covid. L'année 2020, ils l'ont vu venir.
After Sam died, my mom and Edie got really close. They'd both lost a lot.
Grégory. Grégory le bébé en fait. Onégus. Hein? Levez le drapeau 7h30. Petit déjeuner à 8h. Silence à 11h du soir. Quiet time, ouais ok. Stone, sweep, trash, mop. Jump rope. Ah ouais, si ça. Ici ça faisait du sport de fou. Ok. Règles de la maison et tout.
I can't imagine my mom ever writing poetry, and yet
Attends, on va commencer par Grégory. Divorce. Contrat de divorce. Ah.
Dear Kay, do you remember the way Gregory used to laugh when he thought he was alone? Like something funny was happening, but only he could see it.
Je suis un bébé.
I think he saw things the rest of us don't.
Quand je bouge, ça fait la musique. Oh, je contrôle la grenouille.
Over, Gregory. It's time to. Hold on, sweetie.
Let's go.
Hello?
Encore un peu plus de fun.
Sam, I told you I don't want to talk right now.
Je ne veux pas te parler pour l'instant.
I wonder what he saw. What his world was like. He reminded me so much of Calvin. Lost in his imagination. Whatever it was he saw, it sure made him happy.
What the fuck? Oh. Je l'ai raté. Attendez, je retourne. Raté. Ah là là, attends. J'espère que c'est une musique libre de droit, hein. Un bébé qui a l'air trop heureux.
Sorry about that, Gregory.
I know you did everything you could. Maybe if I hadn't called that night.
Oh non, ne dis pas que j'ai bu du savon. Oh, oui.
Hold on, I don't want Gregory to hear this.
I wish he could have told us about the world he saw.
Alors.
There's so much I don't understand.
Ok.
About Gregory.
Couture.
About everything.
jouets m'aident à survivre.
I'm sure he's happy.
Ouais.
And he'd want you to be happy too. Good luck, Kay. Love, Sam.
Oh, c'est dur quand même. Hein. Ah, cette famille est... La malédiction, ouais, c'est... Ils meurent tous, quoi. C'est... Le bully. Les éléments les détestent. Plus.
A poem for Gus, who always said the wedding was a bad idea. Our father never hit us kids, at least not very hard, before the day my brother said with teenage disregard that he'd be dead before he'd see a wedding in our yard. My father made him come, of course, but Gus stood far apart, just flew his kite and bottled up the storm inside his heart. I tried to talk him out of it, but though he'd never met her, we don't need a stepmom were the words that I
now
remember.
pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss the bride.
Ouais. Gros mariage, tout le monde est figé.
When the time for photos came, Dad ordered him to come here. But Gus declined, and as a sign held up his middle finger.
Okay.
The wind picked up, and panicked geese appeared and quickly went. But all the humans did that day was go inside the tent.
D'accord. C'est pour ça qu'il y avait une chaise dans
Rain came
un
down in
arbre.
buckets then, but no one seemed afraid that nature might destroy the tent our dad had crudely made.
C'est une tempête qui a tout emporté.
The thunder sounded much too close and full of angry power. But all my father said to this was, "Make the music louder."
Plus fort la musique. Ok. Par contre, moi je m'en bats les couilles. Hein. Vive la pluie. Il faut que je ramasse tout. Ah. Oula.
I wish that I could truly say I thought about you on that day. Out there on the beach alone, just you, the wind, the sea and foam.
Je me
But
suis
I
pris la
didn't,
tente.
until we found you.
Ah merde. Ah ouais, elle est... C'est... La mort pas ouf.
She never talked about him, but Mom told me once if I was a boy, they were going to name me Gus.
Il nous reste Edith Milton Lewis. Et Eddie. Ok. D'accord. Peut-être qu'elle a des trucs.
My mom moved up to the loft after her brothers died.
Ah ouais?
At the time, it was as far away as she could get.
C'est quand même chose qu'elle connaissait pas encore les escaliers. Faire de l'escalade à chaque fois. La Bible. Et Dawn. Fly to India. Bah alors. 10 façons de enseigner la critique, la pensée critique. Ok, vive l'Inde. Dawn. Dawn, ça, oui, c'est ma maman. C'est ma maman. Ok. Alors.
Religion was another thing my mom never talked about, but I think it helped her a lot after her dad died.
Ouais. Ah, ok, c'est... Son histoire est là.
She spent a summer building houses in Calcutta, where she met my dad, Sanjay.
D'accord. C'était en Inde, quoi. Bien. Sanjay... Par contre, ça c'est stylé. Mais comment je sors? Libérez-moi. Genre, je dois faire demi-tour. Ça me paraît bizarre, mais... Ça me paraît vraiment bizarre s'il faut faire demi-tour. Bon. Je sais pas, il y a peut-être un autre accès de l'autre côté. Pas, hein. À mon avis, non. Ouais, non. Très bien. Oh là là. On a fini par être bloqué quand même. Quand même. On va essayer de regarder un peu partout. Ça, c'est une porte condamnée. Là. Il n'y a rien. Tout ça, j'ai déjà vu. Ouais. Ok. Bon. Non, ça c'est moi qui me suis trompé. Ok. Chut. Ah, emergency evacuation plan. Je vais remonter, je suppose que j'ai oublié un truc en haut. C'est ma seule théorie. Ah mais attends, ça continue en fait. Non, 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 pas du tout. Voilà. Putain, c'était là.
My mom moved to India a week after graduation and got a job teaching English.
Ok. Parti en Inde, enseigner l'anglais.
Lewis was born a year later.
Ok.
When my dad died, I don't think Mom knew where else to go. I'm sure Edie was happy to have her back. And to see the kids in the house again.
Ouais, ouais.
The house had to get a little bigger, but Edie was used to that.
Ah, c'est ça. À chaque fois, ils avaient besoin d'augmenter la taille et du coup, ils construisaient des trucs un peu bizarrement et qui n'ont pas l'air giga solides.
And for a while, things were good. Almost normal.
Les tables de multiplication. Sur le découvre.
But it didn't last.
Oh, méthode scientifique et tout. Très bien. Oh, le laptop là. Attends, elle a écrit un bouquin. Ah ouais. Ok.
The beginning of the end was Milton's 10th birthday, when Edie gave him a castle.
C'est un bon cadeau d'en avoir gardé.
After Milton disappeared, the only thing he left behind was a room full of paintings.
Ah ouais. C'est sa chambre château quoi. 92. On fait d'abord le tour. Y a rien. On va toujours l'ancienne maison là-bas. Au loin. Très très cool. Bien. La fenêtre. Yes. Qu'est-ce que c'est que ça? C'est pour monter? Ah ouais. Milton le prince. Le king. Le roi. Né en 92 et malheureusement il a disparu. Est-ce qu'il est mort? Je sais pas. Jolie peinture. Ok, c'est parti pour la dinguerie suivante. La brosse magique.
Milton Finch in The Magic Paintbrush.
Ok. Oh là là. c'est tout. C'était juste ça. Non, ok. D'accord. Donc il est passé dans une nouvelle dimension.
I was 4 when Milton disappeared.
Ok. Il reste Lewis. Et puis Eddie. Par contre, ouais, je te descends, non?
Mom spent months searching for my brother. Then she sealed the doors.
Ouais, ok. Après, c'est pas très utile si on peut ouvrir les fenêtres. Mais... stylé.
Whatever Milton had found in the house, Mom didn't want it getting out.
Ah ouais? Ça continue par là. Non? Si.
Mom definitely blamed Edie, but I think Lewis blamed himself. After he graduated, he just spent more and more time in his room. Until Mom got him a job at the cannery.
Ok. Voilà. La chambre néon. Je rappelle que nous sommes enceintes. Hein.
Very familiar. That part of him lived on.
San Juan al marijuana. Legalize. Ah ouais. Je vois. Énorme chicha là. Ok, ok. Il était de ce genre. Diplôme de l'école secondaire. Ok.
Dear Mrs. Finch, as Lewis's psychiatrist, I can understand your desire for an explanation. As I see it, the trouble began in January, shortly after we convinced your son to seek treatment for substance abuse. Newly sober, I believe Lewis first noticed the monotony of his daily life.
Ah merde, c'est pas le meilleur taf.
He kept working at the cannery, but he withdrew part of himself. In our sessions, I saw the same behavior. His mind began to...
Oui.
wander.
Okay.
I asked him to describe it. He said he started small.
Si je vais en bas, il se passe quoi? Pareil.
Imagining a labyrinth. He'd feel his way about.
Pour le boss. J'ai oublié de bosser. Pardon. Arrêtez. J'ai un poisson de retard. Ok. Oh, c'est trop dur de faire les deux. Mon cerveau a du mal.
Things that have not names.
Choses sans nom.
He knew it was all in his head. But he took it very seriously. I had hoped he'd find himself. But he found something more.
Okay.
I worried about him then. Daydreaming at the cannery. I spoke with his boss. But he said Lewis had become a model employee. Methodical, tireless, focused. Like a whole
c'est
new
moi, ça.
Lewis. So I let him go on. I even encouraged him. It seemed very promising at first. He told me he'd made a new friend.
Un petit chien.
On the edge of a city he named Lewis Topia. He built the city up slowly, brick by brick.
What?
Then he made musicians.
C'est très sympa. Qu'est-ce que c'est que ça?
And songs for them to play.
Ouais.
He talked about starting a band. And he was always humming something.
Il était en kiff, quoi.
Every day his imagination grew stronger.
Avec le poisson.
He no longer spoke at the cannery. But his chopping was as reliable as ever. Then one day it struck him that all the cheering crowds, even the stones under his feet, were all in his imagination. So he could do whatever he wished. He held an election for mayor. And he won. They begged him to stay, but his mind was already wandering. It became a game for him.
Lewis Topia.
He'd conquer a city, then immediately push on. New Louisville. St. Louis. He started drifting away from our reality.
Ouais, on voit. Je vois de moins en moins les poissons, là.
Minneapolis. Until one day he forgot to go home from the cannery. Even as his mother pleaded with him, part of Lewis kept sailing on.
Bonjour, maman. Oula, on va essayer de pas reproduire le
In
Titanic.
Louisburg, he heard rumors of a
Une belle reine.
handsome queen.
Oh, trop bien. On peut faire des choix comme ça.
The queen was on her own quest for
Vas-y, on va prendre des arcs-en-ciel.
radiant rainbows. He followed the sound of her
Guitare électrique.
electric sitar. His chase led him to a golden palace east of the sun and west of the moon.
Ok.
Even then, his logic remained sound.
C'est
He knew
chiant.
the world was all in his imagination.
Il y a beaucoup de poissons là quand même.
But he was so proud of having created it.
À l'aide.
In his own eyes, he'd become something greater than a king.
Il est devenu le giga.
For someone who'd never known success in the real world, I think it was overwhelming. And then it struck him that the real Lewis was not the one chopping salmon, but the one climbing the steps of a golden palace.
Ah.
My imagination is as real as my body, he told me. It was hard to argue with him.
Ok. Du coup là on est dans l'imagination.
Began to forget the world we know.
Ah non.
I think it pained him to remember Lewis, the cannery worker.
Ouais. Je comprends.
He began to despise the man with a royal contempt.
Yes. Ça va bon. Ah non. Non vas-y, j'ai pas envie de mourir comme ça.
I still thought I could save him. Even after he said he was being crowned king over all the lands of wonder.
D'accord. Oh.
The palace would be packed with his companions.
Ah, même s'il hallucine,
including
sympa
the
hein,
wise
l'hallucination.
Calico who'd insisted on inviting him.
Calico. Je baisse un peu le son. Repos.
His queen waited, holding his crown.
Salut. Voilà, c'est un peu fort. Hein. Salut de Bruschino. Ça va?
There was only one thing left to do.
Il ne restait plus qu'une chose à faire. Ah. Alors. Bon bah s'il faut. Couronnez-moi ma reine.
And the rest I think you know. Mrs. Finch, your son was a kind man who will be missed by all of us who knew him.
Ouais. Dur.
My brother was really cool.
Lewis.
I wish you could have met him.
Ok, on a fait tout le monde, il reste juste Eddie. il reste juste Eddie, je crois. On est peut-être au bout. On va voir. On va voir. En tout cas, belle chambre.
Lewis and I spent a lot of time playing games together, but he was surprisingly bad at them. He died a lot.
Ouais. Ok. On va avancer. Comment je fais pour aller en haut? Ok, je suppose qu'il fallait pas descendre. Il doit y avoir un passage. Ah bah voilà, sur la gauche. Oui.
On the way back from Lewis's funeral, my mom told me to start packing. She waited until the day before we left to tell Edie.
C'est peut-être la maison qui...
I'm not sure if she wanted to make it easier
cursed.
or harder. I wish we'd stayed.
Ah ouais.
But I understand why we left. My mom ended up leaving everything behind.
Juste sauve ta vie, quoi. Dur.
What happened that night had been coming for a long time. Maybe it should have come sooner.
Okay.
But it had to end one way or another. All that's left now is to tell you about that last night.
Ok. Histoire d'Edith. Attention. Dernière dinguerie. C'est parti. Une plume. Ah, c'est moi qui dois écrire l'histoire.
That whole last day, Edie just watched us pack and didn't say a word. Until supper, when she raised her glass and said,
"To our final night together, and all our final nights apart."
Grandma, you know what I said about alcohol. Some of your medications are very
Edith,
specific.
I left a present for you in the hallway. Why don't you go open it? The grown-ups have to argue now.
I'm sorry, you're right. We're all leaving tomorrow. Let's just enjoy our last...
I'm not leaving.
Edith, you're excused.
Ok. J'ai été kick.
the power had been shut off that morning, but Edie always had plenty of candles. When my mom sailed the library, I don't think she knew about the other entrance. Or that Edie had a key to it.
Pourtant, ça se voit un peu.
afraid of isn't going to end when
Ça fait 2 heures que le live a commencé. Ouais. Je crois que je suis presque à la fin là.
Edith has a right to know these stories.
My children are dead because of your stories.
Ah ouais?
I think it's best if Edith and I leave tonight. We'll have the nursing home send a van for you in the morning. Okay?
Histoire des Finch par Eddie. Ok. Resident Evil. Ah, on est quand même loin. Hein.
There's so many stories I wish I could tell you, but there's only time for one. This is about what happened on the night you were born.
Ok.
That night, the tide went way, way out. It was the first and last time I ever saw the old house aground. There'd been an earthquake out in the middle of the ocean.
La grand-mère nous fait de la SMR.
They called it the lowest tide in 1,000 years. God, it smelled awful. You know, I've seen that house every day of my life. But I never thought I'd go back to it. When the fog rolled in, I lost my way.
C'est tout droit, c'est tout droit.
I got turned around. For a while, I wandered.
Ok, on voit vraiment plus rien.
Started seeing things. Things I'd forgotten had ever existed. But when I saw them, they felt like old friends. That night, a lot of things came back to me.
D'accord.
Or maybe I came back to them. Things I can't explain, but that I need you to try and...
Edith, what are you doing in here?
It's mine.
Oh non.
Mom, you're gonna rip it. Let go.
Arrête.
I kicked and screamed, but Mom dragged me to the car. I never saw Great Grandma Edie again.
Non.
The next morning, the van came to pick her up, but she was already gone.
Ça dégoûte.
After that, we moved around a lot.
Quel jeu d'acteur.
We both tried to make the best of it.
Un gameplay incroyable.
A few years went by.
Ces mitaines doivent être un peu moites. Non.
My mom didn't like to talk about it. But she started getting sick a lot. The rest happened pretty quickly.
Oh non.
She got better for a while, and then she didn't.
Dur.
And then I was alone. The last Finch left alive. Until I found out about you.
What?
I'm still not sure what to tell you about all this. If we lived forever, maybe we'd have time to understand things. But as it is, I think the best we can do is try to open our eyes. And appreciate how strange and brief all of this is. This journal was supposed to be for you. But now I hope you'll never see it.
Okay.
I just want to meet you. And tell you all these stories myself. But I guess if you're reading this now, things didn't work out that way.
Ah oui, je suis le bébé. Ok, putain. Il m'a fallu le temps. Est-ce qu'elle est enceinte? Ok, ok.
This is where your story begins. I'm sorry I won't be there to see it. It's a lot to ask, but I don't want you to be sad that I'm gone. I want you to be amazed that any of us ever had a chance to be here at all. Good luck.
Oh. La dinguerie. Oh là là. Bravo, belle histoire. Photos de toute l'équipe de dev. J'attends de voir pour voir si à la fin il y a une scène post-crédit ou quoi. Oh, le Dreadful Stories, en tout cas, c'était vraiment trop bien. Jouer dans la BD, c'était très très original. Ouais. Ouais, bah, Bruskino, j'ai one shot le jeu là. Commencé à 19h35, un truc comme ça. C'est un petit jeu. Annapurna Interactive. toute façon, il y aura la rediff dans quelques minutes, du coup. J'espère que ceux qui auront soit suivi en live ou à la rediff, je vous dis coucou. Hein. J'espère que vous avez apprécié ce petit jeu très original. Hein. En tout cas, j'ai pas vu. Trop dommage, j'ai juste été présent pour le générique. T'inquiète. Il y aura la rediff, Mais ouais. J'essayerai de faire les lives un peu plus tard, parce que c'est vrai que 19h30, c'est peut-être un peu tôt. Peut-être commencer à genre 20h, 20h30, ce genre de truc. The end. Ah, l'option rejouer histoire est maintenant disponible. Sélectionnez Edit pour jouer dès le début. Ok. Ah oui, ok, non. Ok, je peux rejouer une histoire qui était bien. Celle de Barbara, par exemple. Mais, ok. Tu dis annonces ou tu fais ça sur le moment? Bah j'ai... ouais, j'ai... En fait, j'ai programmé le live vers 16-17h, un truc comme ça. Et du coup, si tu ouvrais YouTube à ce moment-là, tu pouvais voir un... Enfin, tu pouvais mettre un rappel, quoi, mais... Je vais annoncer les prochains sur Instagram. Peut-être sur Discord. Sur Discord, je crois qu'il y a eu... il y a toujours la notif, donc ça c'est bon. C'était sur Discord que t'as activé les notifs de vidéo. Tu les verras venir. Mais ouais, je vais essayer de... C'est vrai qu'il faut que j'annonce ça sur Instagram, hein, sinon... Ok. Eh bien, t'as des jeux en tête. Oula, je crois que le chat est énorme. Ok. Des jeux en tête, bah... Celui-là, maintenant que c'est fait, j'en ai plus trop sur ma pile à faire, on va dire. Je voulais faire un petit live Fall Guys dans pas... Enfin, genre prochain live, enfin je sais pas si ça sera le prochain ou plus tard, mais... Fall Guys, ça me tente bien. Je disais parce qu'il est passé gratuit, j'ai fait quelques parties il y a quelques jours, c'était cool. Sinon, moi ce que j'aime bien c'est les jeux narratifs comme ça. Du coup si j'en trouve d'autres que je n'ai pas encore fait... En plus je trouve que ça se prête plutôt bien à l'ambiance ASMR. Dans le sens où en général c'est des jeux pas très... plutôt calmes, contemplatifs. Il y a un jeu que je veux faire aussi qui est contemplatif qui s'appelle Abzu. C'est ça, les jeux avec des choix. Les jeux avec des choix ou même sans choix, hein, genre, enfin, sinon en général il y a quand même des choix, sinon c'est plus trop un jeu, c'est un film. Mais ouais, les films interactifs où tu fais juste quelques décisions, ce genre de truc. C'est sympa. Mais ouais. Je jouerais bien à Abzu aussi, qui est un jeu où tu te balades dans l'océan, de ce que j'ai compris. Pareil, hein, j'essaie de pas trop me spoiler, mais c'est un jeu où tu te balades dans l'océan, tu vois des poissons, des trucs. C'est très beau, apparemment. Donc, ouais, pour une prochaine. On va quitter le jeu. Voilà. GeoGeo ASMR avait fait ça. Ok. Ouais, c'est vraiment les jeux ASMR par excellence, hein, donc. Mais ouais, si j'en trouve d'autres comme ça. Celui-là, en vrai, il se prêtait plutôt bien à l'ASMR aussi. Hein. Moi, je sais que si je devais genre regarder ça le soir avant de me coucher, ça m'endormirait instantanément, vraiment. Je tiendrais pas 20 minutes. Correct. C'est quoi, je vais aller voir GeoGeo ASMR parce que je connais pas. Ouais, je suis pas sûr qu'il y a beaucoup de monde qui fait de l'ASMR gaming sur des jeux qui se prêtent, on va dire, un minimum à l'ASMR, quoi. Parce que j'ai déjà vu des Fortnite ASMR et tout, mais enfin, ou des League of Legends. On salue Sardoche, mais c'est un peu chaud de se détendre, quoi, sur ce genre de jeu. C'est plus compliqué. Ah ouais, je vois là. ASMR pour moi aussi. Ouais. Mais bon, les vidéos sont en cours de préparation. Du coup, il n'y en aura pas mercredi, parce que vu que j'ai fait le live aujourd'hui, j'ai pas tourné. Du coup, ouais, je tournerai un truc pour dimanche. Prochaine vidéo dimanche, un roleplay. Là, mon objectif, c'est de faire un roleplay pour dimanche. Et qu'est-ce que ça va être? C'est la question. Je vais aller voir dans ma petite liste. J'ai un roleplay dans le thème médical qui est prévu. Je sais pas si je le ferai dimanche. Et ouais, on m'a demandé aussi de... Nissim qui m'a demandé de refaire un roleplay coiffeur barbier. Un des deux, peut-être les deux, on verra. Et j'aimerais bien en faire un en vrai, donc on va voir. Et aussi la mini-série médicale qui est en cours. Enfin, la mini-série, je l'appelle comme ça parce que pour moi il y a une suite entre les épisodes. Celle où il y a la fameuse expérience un petit peu bizarre là qui est en train de se produire. Ça faut aussi que je continue, j'ai déjà des idées pour la suite. Fais ce qui te fait le plus plaisir à tourner. Exactement. Du coup, je verrai sur le tas. Je tournerai ça probablement, si pas demain, jeudi ou vendredi. Et puis, ouais, et puis le montage, ça va, ça se fera, ça se fera. Ok. Et bah, il est tout pile 22h, incroyable. Du coup, live de 3h. 3h tout pile maintenant. Non, pas tout pile, parce que j'ai commencé à 19h30. Donc 2h30. Et donc le jeu était vraiment pas très long. Sympa. Et ouais, moi je vais vous laisser. J'espère que ça vous a fait plaisir. Que vous êtes endormis. Et salut Marmoton. Ah bah, si tu viens d'arriver, c'est un peu tard du coup, mais t'inquiète, il y a la rediff. Bonne soirée, Bruskino. Et ouais, du coup, nous, on se revoit dimanche. Sauf si je fais un live avant, mais à mon avis, ça devrait pas trop arriver, je pense. On verra. Du coup, ouais. N'oubliez pas de me suivre sur Instagram. Si jamais c'est dans la description, histoire d'être informé. Abonnez-vous si c'est pas fait aussi. Et voilà. Bonne nuit. Salut, salut.